One of the challenges I set for 2023 was to commit at least 1 hour every single week of this year to cleaning up my local community. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Reese, and in today's video, I'm going to be taking you through my plan, as well as what I aim and am hoping to achieve out of committing this 52 hours at a very bare minimum towards this really good cause across 2023. First up, I like spreadsheets and I like being consistent. It's something that has benefited me greatly throughout my entire life, and it's something that I can absolutely apply to this activity that I'm planning to do as well. As part of that, I'm planning to collect a bit of information, let's just call it some data points, to be able to come back and reflect on as this activity progresses throughout the year. Now, I'm going to track this information through Notion because it's pretty versatile in how I can display these metrics, and I think overall it's just a good looking platform to be able to capture this information as the year goes on. If you're unfamiliar with what Notion is, feel free to give my video on the topic a watch. I have left a link down in the description below. And out of the metrics that I'm planning to keep track of, some of them include things like the weight of the rubbish that's going to be collected over those 52 sessions. I really want to see how much it ends up being at the very end. I'm going to keep track of the locations I visit, and I think I'll record who gets involved as well. And who knows, I might buy the person who comes out the most times a nice little Christmas gift as a thank you. As part of this activity, because I'm going to be doing a lot of walking, I'm thinking that I'm also going to track my walks through my smartwatch, and that will obviously be uploaded to Strava. So I'll actually be able to show some of that data when I start collecting it, which is really cool as well, because at the end of the year, I'm going to also keep track of how far I traveled as part of doing this activity. Looking ahead as well, I had a think about some of the types of safety equipment that I could potentially be using or utilizing to make sure that I am as safe as possible, considering some of the locations that I'm planning to visit could have things that you don't really want to get anywhere near with your hands. On top of this as well, depending on how much rubbish there is at these locations and how much time I spend there, I'm going to be doing a fair amount of walking. So if I'm filling up my buckets of rubbish relatively quickly, I'm going to want to make sure that I'm not having to carry it around where it could really stress out my body. And I've thought of a simple solution to kind of navigate that one as well. So I have actually invested in a pair of gloves, some pincers, and some buckets, which are going to be pretty handy to have because I don't like the idea of using rubbish bags when I can just bring the rubbish back home and tip it into my bin without having to create more waste, being those rubbish bags themselves. And I've had the bright idea to potentially buy some type of four-wheeled cart that I can put the buckets in and pull behind me as I walk around picking rubbish up. To begin with though, I'm going to see how I go with the buckets, and if I do need some type of towing capacity, I'll then go and buy one of these carts, and it will become pretty obvious pretty quickly if that's going to be something I'm going to need to do. What I have to start with as kind of a starter pack really didn't cost me that much money, and I think at a very bare minimum, it's all I'm really going to need to kick off this little activity. So moving on now, what am I hoping to get out of doing this? The most important thing for me is to be as consistent as possible. I do not want to miss a single week. I want to go 52 times to commit my time to one of these good causes. I think it's really important for myself, as volunteering and finding free time in my busy schedule is not something that I find to be quite easy to do. I really am time poor because I like to do a lot of different things. So I want to do something kind of selfless, and I don't expect anything to come from it. I just want to make sure that I do a total of 52 1-hour sessions throughout the year. The second thing that will most likely come from doing this activity or exercise is that I will probably get to socialize with my friends when they come out and go for a walk with me, basically. I think that will be a cool little win out of doing this, as well as I plan to just treat it as some relaxation or downtime, because it's something that will force me into a space where I can really only do things like listen to music, maybe a podcast while I'm walking around. And it's something that just for my mental health, I think it's going to do wonders as well, because it's just an hour of my time each time I do it, where I'm just kind of floating around an area, taking my time. I'm in no rush. I have nothing to prove. If nothing goes in my bucket because the area is clean, so be it. It's not a bad thing at all. Another thing I'm really interested in finding out, and something that I will get out of it, is how much exercise is this going to entail? 1 hour every single week over the course of a year is going to allow me to cover a lot of distance. So I am really quite excited to see how far I make it over the course of those 52 sessions. On top of this as well, as the challenge develops, I'm thinking there might be some cool locations that I can visit for myself that I don't often go to. One in Adelaide in particular is Mount Lofty, which is a really steep walk. It's something that lots of people do regularly. It's a bit far from where I personally live, but it's probably one that I'll add to my list. So I might get to visit some cool locations as well. So I'm doing something great, but I'm also gaining some, cool experiences going to places that they're hiking trails that I don't often use. And this might give me a little bit of a push to go out and enjoy those spaces. And the final thing that I'm probably going to get out of it as well is I'm going to learn a thing or two about recycling, which is really important to me because it's something I want to get better at doing. Waste management is really important. Everyone who commits a little bit of effort to doing this in a way that has a positive outcome on our environment, in my opinion, it's something that every percentage counts. The 1% make up a bigger portion of people. And if everyone gets on board and learns more about this, it's going to benefit just in general our surroundings, the way that our rubbish is handled. So I'm very interested in seeing where this takes me. Like I said before, I'm very time poor, and finding something that aligns with my own personal schedule to be able to give back. It's voluntary. I'm not expecting anything from it. I just want to do something to give back to the community without any expectations whatsoever. This really does align to what I'm interested in doing, as well as will fit nicely into my schedule, I hope. And so I'm really overall just excited to see how it goes. And I'm going to give it a really fair go as well. And this kind of brings me to the conclusion of today's video. If you, the viewer, have any suggestions of ways that I can make this a more enjoyable experience or ways that I can improve on the process that I'm planning to do, please drop me a comment down below. I would be very interested to hear what you have to say. And that overall is pretty much all I have. If you are interested in seeing how this journey goes, I am planning to make some update videos as the year goes on. Please feel free to hit that like and subscribe button down below. It really does help the channel grow, and I really do appreciate the support. And that is pretty much it. So have a good day, have a good week. And as always, I will see you in the next one. Bye for now.